back, Jumps fans? Well, your tans may be fading. The winter clobber is back on, but this is not the winter of our discontent. Yes, the big jump off. Back with you Monday the 17th of October. Free put out in your paper. Unmissables. 72 pages worth of great stuff. Honestly, last year it was one of the most popular features we did, put together with love by Tom Park and Andrew Pennington. Absolutely sensational. If you've not got it, what's going on? Rush out now and get it. And we're going to cover everything for you. This video was our best performing video of 2021. The 2022 version. Let's have a look at who is in this then. Ruby Walsh, Nicky Henderson, Patrick Mullins, James Willoughby, the list goes on, guys. Tony Mullins, Keith Melrose, Maddie Plale, Dave Jennings, Graham Rodway, yours truly, and perhaps, most importantly, the man sitting next to me, Paul Kealy, comes back in, pages 6 and 7 for Paul and loads of others. And the man we're going to zoom into to Reading now, Price-Wise Supremo himself, Tom Segal. How are you, Tom?
It could be better if truth be told. I felt better over in time, but I'm really looking forward to this. We'll have a bit of fun, a bit of a laugh, and hopefully steer some people in the right direction for the jump seat.
Yes. Now, Tom, let's stick with you on this. Are you delighted that this drought of a summer is finally over and we can get into some jumps action? The jumps audience is something like we've never known before, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. When I grew up, it was all flat racing. Now it seems to be everyone's all interested in the jumps racing. I love them both. You know, I've really enjoyed the flat season as well. I think we've seen some tremendous performances from some tremendous horses. But I'm a big pedigrees man, and I think the standard of jumps horses has got rocketed in the last 10 years. We've got Derby winners being sent to stud for jump. We've got only this year we've had Golden Horn move to a jump sire. You know what I mean? We've got really proper horses that are bred to be Derby winners running over jumps and over hurdles now. And I think that's evident in the standard of horse we've got. Every year we go to Cheltenham and we're wowed by horses. I just think standard jumps horses is as high as I can ever remember. So, yes, I am really looking forward to it. I think we're going to have some tremendous races. We've got some tremendous horses. We'll talk about Honeysuckle and Constitution Hill and Gallop and Jump and all the lot as we go on. But I really, really am looking forward to it. I think we've got some tremendous horses to look forward to.
Well, if Tom says that, then all of a sudden you're getting jiggy out there, aren't you? The hair's standing on the back of the end. The bar is set high. And I go to the man next to me. I read a column of yours the other week. You're dreading it all.
I would say, dreading it all. It was just reading, I was going back, I was looking up for novice chases and all that, so I was trying to go back and read as much news as I could, find out who's going where and who's doing this. And then you read these stories about, let's pick Long Press, for example. He's won the #1 staying Grade 1 novice chase in Britain, and we're not going to see him in a Grade 1 race by the sounds of it until he ends up at Cheltenham. What's all that about? I mean, why do we bother putting any racing? Why do we put any racing on other than Cheltenham if that's the way it's going to be? We know. Then we had Nicky Henderson talking about going for the Ascot hurdle and the Contenders hurdle, which is the most ridiculous race in the calendar. Shouldn't be there. Should just be banned straight away. It's a load of rubbish. It either has a handful of horses who are basically badly handicapped and not contenders for anything, or one aspiring champion hurdle hope trained by Nicky Henderson at monster odds on against a bunch of horses that aren't contenders for anything. He's won it about 8 times and the average price of his winners is 4s on or something ridiculous. So yes, it fills me with a little bit of dread because, we've seen a lot of small fields on the flat over here this season. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it again. I want it to be better. I mean, we're still going to see some great stuff. Obviously, we have some great handicaps and all that. I'd just like to see, I'd like to see horses take each other on a bit more. I don't think that's much to ask. Yeah. But I also fear it ain't going to happen.
T-5 minutes, guys, and he's already had his moan. So that's out the way now. Happy days. All right, so I've got the best in the business joining me. Don't forget, of course, to like and subscribe on YouTube. That's what it's all about. That way you can let us know your comments in below. The guys will be reading that. It's all about feedback. Cheltenham Festival, it stays at 4 days as well. Welcome news all round, I am sure. Now, it's not just been about the C word, of course, which you can summer, you can say the C word. It's all about Cheltenham. The new C word, guys, is, of course, Constitution Hill. No hurdler, says Steve Mason in his unmissable piece in the big jump off this morning, has ever gone over 180, bar the mighty Isterbrack. He expects Constitution Hill to pretty much do that this season. The highest RPR ever awarded to a novice hurdle winner at the Cheltenham Festival. And we start off with the Champion Chase division. Of course, we've got to, haven't we? Because Honeysuckle has held all before her. Whatever you think about the mare's allowance coming into it, as she beaten decent fields, this season she's got a serious rival up against her. And a roundabout with Bet365, our sponsors at the moment, 11 to 8. 7 to 4-ish, would you believe it? Honeysuckle. Tom, is it just about the big two?
I wouldn't rule out Vauban, the Triumph Hurdle winner. I know people balk at 5-year-olds winning champion hurdles, but it's happened twice in the last, it's happened once a decade, basically. So I wouldn't rule him out. He's a very, very fast horse. But whether he can beat Constitution Hill, I don't know. I mean, I've read Keel's bit about Constitution Hill versus Honeysuckle, and I agree on what they did at Cheltenham last year. There's only one winner, isn't there? But I'm loath to take on horses that never lose. He says, having watched Baid lose on Saturday. But Honeysuckle is an amazing mare. She does have the advantage of obviously the £7 mare allowance. I just cannot wait to see them knock heads. I mean, obviously, on what they showed at Cheltenham last year, you've got to be in the Constitution Hill camp, but throw Vauban in there, and I think we've got a champion hurdle for the ages. I really, really do. I think, you've got. How can you oppose Constitution Hill on what he did last year? But you're talking about an unbeaten mare getting £7, and perhaps one of the best juveniles from many a year as well. So it's just mouthwatering. I cannot wait to see that. If they all get there on the champ, I'll be there. That's for sure. I don't go racing that much these days because of work commitments. But if those three turn up, I will not be missing that race. I think it's exceptionally exciting.
Yeah. Oh, well, there we go. All right. So look out for the big man if they all turn up. I said it was 7 to 4. I've just been told it's 7 to 2 Honeysuckle with Bet365 at the moment. Would you believe that, Kills?
Yes, on last year's. I mean, the thing about Honeysuckle, she is brilliant. There's no doubt about it. She wasn't as brilliant last year as she was the year before. Now, it might be because she didn't need to be. And she's now got in the habit of doing just what she needs to do. But an RPR of 159, believe it or not, for winning the champion hurdle. Obviously, she gets that £7 allowance, but she beat a mare in Epatante. An RPR of 159 for a gelding, you would say it's a good grade 2 horse. You know what I mean? You would not expect a gelding ever to win a champion hurdle and run to that sort of level. So she's going to have to up it again. She might be capable of doing so because she is 16 from 16, and whatever you put in front of her, she beats. And she doesn't tend to do it. She doesn't tend to struggle to do so, but she's going to have to, because all the talk of last year, she ran, Constitution Hill ran a hell of a lot faster than her last year, not only in reaching the last, but afterwards as well, while having no competition at all. So he's extra special.
Yeah.
If, as Steve Mason says, he expects him to run to 180, we are talking in terms of one of the best hurdlers ever.
He was the first novice since Alderbrook to become the top-rated hurdler of that season. If you go down in Steve Mason's top, this is our jumps handicapper, of course, guys, if you're not sure about that, by Racing Post ratings, the top hurdlers of last year go down to Zanahiyr on 161. Honeysuckle's not even on that list.
No, that's right, but she hasn't needed to be. She gets the allowance, and she's only done what she's needed to do. But she's going to need to do more at an advanced age as well now.
Give us a word on Vauban, because you're fairly close to the camp, aren't you? And they talked about Melbourne Cup type vibe. He's that quick, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I think he's. I think they think he's very, very good. I always used to think you shouldn't write the 5-year-olds off, but he's going up against what looks like an especially good horse. We'll have to wait and see. He's got a top RPR of 150. Constitution Hill 172, so that gives you an idea of how much he's got to find, and he's a top priced 8 to 1. I don't think that would interest me from an ante-post perspective. The problem is that the division has been weak for a long while. So whether anything else comes through, obviously horses improve at different rates, but because there is a mare who's unbeaten and a newcomer on the block who looks like an absolute monster, I think people are going to think, well, we're not going to go down the 2 mile route. We're going to go novice chasing. We're going to go 2.5.
He could have quite easily done that this season, couldn't he? Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So you wouldn't, for instance, wouldn't be surprised, and I'm sure I think Tom put her up. Then Epatante for the mare's hurdle. She's not going to go there. But she's not going to run in the champion hurdle, is she?
Okay, let's go back to Tom.
Won it.
Tom, you've been listening to us talking. Is there anything lurking? I'm a huge fan, like a lot of people out there, of State Man. We're not sure whether he could go up to the Stayers hurdle. Being Team Mullins, of course, he had all these options ahead of him, Vauban. This time last year, Kealy said if there was one favourite that I'm not going to apologise for putting it up, it would be Honeysuckle, around about the 7-4 mark. Is that what we're looking at with Constitution Hill?
I don't know. I mean, it's a long time, isn't it? I don't want to wrap up money at 7-4 on any horse, even one that could be as special as Constitution Hill at this stage, especially when you've got Honeysuckle in there. And I know Vauban's got a load to find on the figures, but you can only win your races as easily as he did. I mean, he was a very fast horse on the flat. Let's not beat around the bush. I think I would be surprised if he's not hitting ratings in the 170s at some stage this year, at the very least. So while I wouldn't be backing him at 8-1 because Kealy is right, he's got a long way to go. And look, even if he wins his trials, he'll probably still be 5 or 6 to 1, won't he? Because you've got those two in against him. I think come the day, I think he's an interesting horse on good ground, because I think he's pretty special, Vauban. And so, look, if you're looking for something else, you've got to look at Willie Mullins, haven't you? Because that's where, the best horses are. I wouldn't rule out Sir Gerhard of running, maybe staying over hurdles and going back to the champion hurdle. He pulls too hard, but I think he'll probably go chasing. He's won a point to point. But really, it's all about Constitution Hill and what he showed last year. If he turns up in the same form he was in the Supreme, it's going to be really, really hard to beat him. But, there's others in there, and things change on the day. I mean, I was watching race. I've just switched on to jumps mode, really. And I was watching racing yesterday from Sedgefield and Kempton and Cork or wherever it was. And you do realise how much races depend on jumping. Sounds stupid being a jumps race, but horses get out of rhythm very, very quickly. It takes one, we've seen horses in the champion hurdle. We saw Bouverdere come down, didn't he, when he was odds-on favourite. I know he's not Constitution Hill, but things change in jumps racing very, very quickly. So I don't want to tie up money at short prices now, but, Constitution Hill on what he showed looks like one of the best horses we've ever seen. So I just can't wait. I think it's a brilliant division. As Kealy says, it's been a weak division for a few years. Now it's one I'm really looking forward to.
Just fingers crossed they'll get there in one piece. Let's wrap this up then, guys, because this is the division I think that everyone's wanting to hear about from you guys, and especially, this will probably be our longest one. There is one name on that list that keeps jumping out at me at a big price, and horses that end up with a question mark next to their names every season. We've seen it with Envoy Allen last season, for example, and jumping is the name of the game. That would be my slight worry personally with Vauban. You watch him back in the Triumph Hurdle, he clouts them, doesn't he, and still sprints up the hill. He's got to now jump properly. This is Team Mullins. But again, that could improve him, leaps and bounds. The one name on this list that we don't know where he's going to go, and we assume he'll stay fencing, but if he were to revert, it would be Bob Ollinger, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very, very decent horse, isn't he? But is he a two-miler, really?
Well, there was talk about should he have gone chasing and should he have gone, he didn't. He'd have been doing the champion hurdle, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he still ended up winning a Cheltenham Festival race over fences last year, but albeit in the most ridiculously fortunate fashion. So, I didn't think he looked like a natural chaser last year, but you have to remember, and this is what catches a lot of people out, there seem to be a lot of people in racing who just assume that whoever was the best horse in bumpers and then the best horse in novice hurdlers is going to be the best horse in novice chases and is then going to go win and run in Gold Cups and all that. That doesn't happen over jumps very often at all. Horses improve at very, very different rates, and the precocious ones get caught up. And I'm going to, I don't think it's even sticking my head on the block, so we've already seen the best of Bob Ollinger.
Yeah, well, it's possible. Having done the intermediate chase division in this a big jump off, let me tell you, he's the one that gives you a bit of a headache, because you actually look at him and, I don't know, there could still yet be a Bob Ollinger waiting to peak in there. Tom, are you just shaking your head at all this?
Well, I just think he had issues, didn't he? I think he was injured at Cheltenham. He then showed nothing at Punchestown. I think I get the price angle you're looking at there, Dave, but I think he's got a lot to prove now, Bob Ollinger. I'd like to see him first before I even contemplated putting any money down on him. I just think, will he ever come back to where he was? I personally have my doubt.
All right, so there you are. A lot of people still keeping the faith there. He was a banker for many, wasn't he, going into the Cheltenham Festival? You lucky ante-post backers. All right, we talked about State Man. I'm looking at horses now that can step up, of course. Flooring Porter, back-to-back Stayers Hurdle wins, guys. A mark of 169, though, Tom, for that. Suggests that, I don't know, he's going for the hat-trick. We love him. He's such a good jumper at jump, like a lion, isn't he? But is he vulnerable?
Well, the thing... We're going now to a division where there isn't any opposition, are there? I mean, the Stayers Hurdle route at the moment, we don't know which novices are going to go that way. Looks pretty weak, doesn't it? I mean, it's Flooring Porter versus Willie Mullins' horse. What's it called? The one that won the Supreme.
The nice... Classical Dream.
Yeah. Seems like it's going to be that race all over again with maybe Paisley Park thrown in. It's the same race over and over again. And what we know is that Flooring Porter's the best of them, isn't it? And what we also know is that he's the one that's the easiest of them. He's going to go and make the running. I know he's got his quirks and he hangs a bit, but he'll be out front. They've got to go and get past him. Paisley Park has his flat spot. Classical Dream doesn't start or does want to start. You know, he beat him at Leopardstown when he got that flying start. Where's the new kid on the block? You know what I mean? I suppose there's a few floating around there that you could throw in. Maybe, you look at the Albert Bartlett last year. Excuse me. But I think the nice guy's going to go fencing, isn't he? And Malcolm Denmark loves staying chaser, so I'd be very surprised if he stayed over hurdles. Hillcrest, who was favourite for that race, has already been ruled out for the season. So you're struggling to find too many that are going to come in. I'm a big fan of Marie's Rock, who won the Mayor's Novice Ride. I think she'll relish 3 miles. You'd get the Mayor allowance as well, but will she stay in the Mayor's division or will she go up? If she went for 3 miles, I think she'd be interesting. You've got Charles Burns' horse, Blazing Carl, that his form's worked out very well. When he won the Cheltenham Novices, the Novice Hurdle, that form worked out really well, and he had to miss the Cheltenham Festival, and he was favourite for the ante-post favourite for the Albert Bartlett. So maybe he could go there too, but he's also got the option of going chasing. That's the thing about staying hurdlers. Ted Walsh used to do the morning line with him. He used to sit next to me. He always used to say, "No one wants a staying hurdler. They're any good. They're any good stayers. They'll go fencing." You know, and that's been proven over history. I mean, Big Bucks was a chaser, but he had to come back to hurdlers because the chasing didn't work for him. But I think, trying to find one in there is quite tricky because I don't think it's a strong division. And I think Flooring Porter stands out. Of all the favourites, ante-post favourites currently at the Cheltenham Festival, he was the one that I contemplated most putting up in the big jump off today because I just thought the opposition was lacking. I sometimes think ante-post racing is more about finding the right race. Obviously, you've got to find the right horse, but if you find the weakest race where there isn't any competition, then that's a help too. So I love him. I mean, I've backed him twice the last 2 years, and if the ground's good again, I think he'll probably win again. But if you ask me to throw a couple of names out there, it would be Marie's Rock, who I think would love 3 miles if he was to go that route, and it'd be interesting to see what Charles Burns run for Oscar fame from the other week does with Blazing.
Yeah, of course, the Says winner. Some price-wise pearls there. What about some classic kills coming out here?
Well, I mean, the thing about the Stayers Hurdle is trying to work out what he's going to run is very, very difficult. So we've got a list in here that a load of them are going. We're pretty sure they're going to go novice chasing. But some of them are going to fail at novice chasing and they're going to come back. Or some of them are going to have setbacks and they're going to decide, we'll stay over hurdles for this season and we'll go novice chasing next season. That sort of thing you can't legislate for, can you? Now, I think RPRs of 168, 166 for Flooring Porter the last 2 years. It's very rare to get a 170 winner of a staying hurdle anyway. Like, you know what I mean? That's perfectly good enough to win again.
It is a division that's dominated by horses that win it a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Barracuda, Big Bucks,
Barracuda,
Inglis.
Big Bucks, Ingles Driver, yeah. So there's no reason why he can't. He's still only 7, isn't he, as well? Like, you know what I mean? So he's certainly got plenty of time on his side, and he's been, he was dominant both times, wasn't he?
Okay.
But if you have, if horses have setbacks, I mean, the nice guy would be very, very interesting. Now, he's one of those that, I mean, he'd only run once over hurdles and then won the Albert Bartlett. And he only won once over hurdles. He'd had a million problems, isn't he? I mean,
he's a bit of a pensioner for a novice, isn't he?
Well, yeah, exactly. He's already 7, isn't he? You know what I mean? So if he has another setback, they might say, well, we're going to have to run in the watch.
It could still revert.
He becomes a player. It's a difficult race to bet ante-posting. I see where Marie's Rock comes from. I mean, it all comes down to, you know, Nicky Henderson, Constitution Hill, epatante for the mares, maybe push Marie's Rock up. But I mean, you know, ultimate decisions are going to be made by owners as well.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it could end up looking a weak race. We don't know we don't even know whether Buzz is going to come back, and he's third favourite.
He's interesting, of course, for Hendo. Yeah, he was, you know, on that Ascot form, he looked very interesting, didn't he? But is he going to do it? So Florin Porter, 9-2 for the Stales Hurdle then with Bet365. Value, according to Tom Segal. Well, thrilled to say, joining us here on this year's Big Jump Off, training with probably one of the all-time greats, that's unarguable, guys, 2 mile chasers and many, many more jumpers down the line. Jessie Harrington joins us on the line. Jessie, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me on.
It's always an absolute pleasure to have you on, Jessie. Now, the summer has gone, just another Irish Oaks amongst a great flat season for you. We're bidding farewell to that pretty much in the next couple of weeks, and the jumpers come back. Now, it's fair to say you wouldn't have your biggest string as normal, Jessie, but some interesting horses we want to hear about you nonetheless.
Yeah, I didn't know. It's you know, I haven't got that many, and it's not really by intention. It's just the way it's gone and the way the yards panned out.
Jessie, news, of course, breaking this day when we get rid of, when we release our Big Jump Off preview. Cheltenham Festival, many thought this was not going to be the case, stays at 4 days. How are you feeling about that?
I'm very happy about that because I think the way it works at the moment, I think that the quality of the racing is amazing. And also I think that the punters, the paying public that come through the gates, I think they'd be very short-changed if they only had 6 races a day. I think 7 races a day gives them a much better whole day out. And I think that's the most important thing, is to think about the people who are actually paying to get in.
Yeah, it's extremely expensive out there in the world in general at the moment, Jessie, isn't it? But especially people coming from Ireland, a thought to them because accommodation, etc. People that want to do the whole festival, a 5th day would have been very tough, wouldn't it?
I think it would have been, and I think, you know, then only having 6 races a day, I think most people would really feel very short-changed.
Jessie, I mean, you've won most of the races at the Cheltenham Festival. I remember one of my favourite horses being a mare called Spirit Leader, who just used to turn up and win most of them. We've also won a Gold Cup, of course, recently with Sizing John. Any of them lurking around in the stable?
Oh, I don't know about that. I have Sizing John is here. He is still here. He's retired out in the field. I just got a few nice horses this year and a few nice young horses, and we'll just see how we get on with them.
Well, yeah, OK. We'll get to the younger horses then, maybe, and perhaps you might be able to pluck up one for us to follow. But listen, everyone's favourite. How he didn't win a race last season, I don't know, but he massively deserves to this season. He's second in the Coral Cup when he looked like sure to be swallowed up going up the hill. He took some beating, didn't he, Ashdale Bob, and of course then followed home Classical Dream.
Yeah, Ashdale Bob, he's come back. He's in great form, and he's got the whole programme is set out for the year, which is the great thing. He's going to go. He's going to start off in the Hatton's Grace at Fairy House over 2.5 miles, and then basically he goes to Leopardstown at Christmas, Leopardstown at the Racing Festival, and then on to Cheltenham, and then we'll see what happens after that.
He is a horse that loves to go out from front and just sort of catch me if you can, heart on sleeve type, isn't he?
He is, and you know, he's a 7-year-old coming 8, and I think this year he looks really strong when he's come in. You know, last year we had a sort of aborted season because we went jumping fences and it didn't work out, and we had to change in January, going back over hurdles. And then he was happy. Just when he was jumping fences, he never picked up the bridle.
He's officially rated 152. You get the sense that there's more to come from him. And so, are we just aborting fences with him now?
Yeah, well, unless something changed. But the owners have had it with me this morning, and we just have Plan A. And they said, "What's Plan B?" I said, "I don't know. We just got Plan A at the moment."
Well, let's hope he sticks to that. And like I say, everyone absolutely loves him. So, thrilling to hear about him. OK, another on my list here, Jessie, is Autumn Evening. A classy sort indeed. Last seen, of course, winning a 2-mile flat race.
Yeah, he won't be doing much this. He'll probably wait for the spring of the year, and maybe run in one good handicap hurdle. Not quite sure where. And then he'll have a flat campaign next summer.
Now, as I mentioned, Jessie, you're one of the best stables out there at placing your horses for the right races, and it didn't happen for him in the Drimore and then after, did it? But Lifetime Ambition was a horse that really caught my imagination at Down Royal last year. I'm hoping you're going to say there's much more to come from this chap.
Well, hopefully, his main aim is going to be the Grand National. Robert Power was one of the last horses he rode to win on, and he is convinced he's a national horse. So he is going to go and run in Aintree in the Beecher Chase, the one that's in November, and then we're going to see where we go from there. But he likes a bit of nice ground, so he'll run there. Then he might run at Christmas, but he's going to be geared to go to running in the Grand National. That's his plan.
What a breath of fresh air to hear that, because he's got a big, a fan base, including me in it, Jessie. Let's have a look at some of your younger horses then, Jessie, if you don't mind. Jatara, of course, in those very famous colours. Now, she's got listed bumper form already, but you're telling me she's going to stick in that division?
She's going to stick in that division. She's only a 4-year-old. And I just, we'd like to win. We might change if she won the bumper, if she won the graded bumper in Avon, we might change and go jumping hurdles with her. But she's a lovely filly, and she's only 4 now, coming 5, and she will improve with time, like all that family do.
All right, okay. What about a young horse to follow then, Jessie? Have you got something for bumpers or something like that? Store horses coming through. Of course, you've said already that the main yard operation is now the flat, but Cheltenham Festival would not be the same without Jessie Harrington. So we've got one that might just turn up there.
Yeah, I've got a very nice filly called Ashdale Fire, 3-year-old filly. And another filly by Milan out of Burnham Turn, who I trained. Those are 2 very, I think, pretty special horses. And I've got a very nice Sholokov 4-year-old filly, half sister to Mighty Megsy, and she's a very nice, lovely big filly, and she'll be a bumper type.
Marvellous. You can hear the notebooks filling up all the way then. Girl power then for Team Harrington, I guess, through the winter. Jessie, thanks so much for coming on. It was slightly short notice. You didn't disappoint. You had the unraced horses for us as well. As ever, what a pleasure talking to you at the Racing Post.
Not at all. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Yes, the best app in horse racing just got better. The new version is out there for you. There you go. You can download our new app, guys. It's all free. That's the most important bit. Exclusive content for the biggest names out there. They're all there. Segal, Kealy, there he is, of course, putting up tips for you every day. All-star tipping lineup. You can, of course, stay ahead of the field. The things that we're going to build on this new platform, guys, in the next year, wait and see. It's definitely considered one of the best innovations in the past 10 years here by the crew at the Racing Post. Go now to the Google Play Store or the App Store itself to find out more. It's all coming your way on the new Racing Post app. Shall we avert our eyes to the chasers then? Yes, come on, let's have it. 2-mile division then, the speed division over fences, more commonly known as the Champion Chase division. Tom, last year, Kills has already moaned about horses not taking each other on. Well, we couldn't moan at Clarence House Chase come Ascot in January, of course, when Shishkin just saw off an Ergamine in a race for the ages.
Yeah, it was a brilliant race, wasn't it? Everyone loved it. It was one of the races of the year without a shadow of a doubt. Shishkin just got the better of an Ergamine there, but they've changed the tactics with an Ergamine, haven't they, since then? Been much more reticent with going so fast with him. I think at Ascot they tried to sort of get Shishkin out of his comfort zone, and it almost worked. But I would be very much in the Ergamine camp at the moment, simply because Shishkin's obviously had his issue. I know Mickey Henderson has brought back Sprinter Sacra in the past to his brilliant best after a woeful performance like we saw from Shishkin in the Champion Chase, where he last 3 fences or something, before he was pulled up. But Energamine is a bit like Constitution Hill. I thought he put up some monster performances last year. I thought he was really one of the most impressive horses in training. He has to be. Now he's ridden the way he is, I think he's very much the one to beat in the 2-mile chase division. Shishkin has more to prove now. I think he needs to go up in trip myself. I think 2 miles will be the bare minimum for him this year. I could see him, if I could envisage him running in the Ryanair at the Cheltenham Festival. I honestly can, because I think the strong stayer. I've thought that as a hurdler. I've thought that as in his chase form as well. I think all his best work is at the finish. I think we'll see a different horse. up in trip. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit if Shishkin was to go and up and take on Allaho in the Ryanair. But if he, hopefully he won't. Hopefully he won't, because we want to see the duel again. We want to see who comes out the best horse. 1-1 at the moment.
Yeah.
And we want to see them at it again.
We're not looking at a Moscow Flyer division. We hoped last year, didn't we, that this would transpire. We don't know what's happened with Shishkin. The team Endo don't really know. That's the word. He looked meek in the paddock. Some of the judges told us he didn't perform at Cheltenham. Can he come back is the first question. Will he move up in trip is the second. And this is why your big jump off, guys. Honestly, it's so important, because this is where we start to look at the difficulties from an ante-post perspective of horses that might go Ryanair, might go Gold Cup, or might go Champion Chase.
It's one bad run, isn't it? And that's all we've got, and it was over. It was a little bit like what's the Hobbs thing that did it similar? Ran really, really poorly when favourite for the Champion Chase. Come on, remind me of the name of it.
Oh man,
Defi de Soy. That's it. Like, you know what I mean? Just fell apart in the Champion Chase when odds on, and Shishkin fell apart really early. He clearly wasn't right, but I think the Ascot race, that Ascot, that race at Ascot is, by some margin, the most stamina-sapping 2-mile race in the calendar, and he needed every single yard of it. And I was thinking to myself, he'll get to Cheltenham, he'll charge up the hill, and he'll love it. But I mean, Cheltenham's 2 miles is much easier than Ascot 2-mile one there. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm going to say yes, he needs to go up and trip. I'm going to declare that I'll be surprised if he ends up in the Champion Chase. I think he will tell them. I mean, we know how much Nicky Henderson loves 2-milers. But I think he's going to very much tell them this year that he wants to go further.
Has he got any novices coming through over 2 miles? Not from. He didn't have a great year with novices.
Well, novices 2 miles. John Bond is obviously. John Bond could easily be.
Yeah, but second season chases.
Second season chases. No, I'm not sure. I mean, he's the star, isn't he? There aren't many horses that run 180 RPRs over fences. And he's one who has. So he's the star. He hasn't got anything to take over from Shishkin. But by the same token, he's going to tell us now that he's 8 now, and he's going to be 9 in March. He's going to tell us he needs further. And it's not like in the case of Altior at the time, where Altior would had it to himself over 2 miles because there weren't any horses anywhere near as good as him.
So we could be looking at this with an Ergamine. He's 9-4 at the moment, at the time of recording with Bet365. You look down the list, bar Shishkin, who's at 4s. A lot of people would be tempted by that, but the guys are saying maybe wait.
Would not touch Shishkin at 4s with a barge pole. I mean, I would literally back every other horse on that list rather than Shishkin.
But this is where it gets interesting, because you've got Fernie Hollow, who we hardly ever see, but he's Mullins.
Fernie Hollow just won't get there. I mean,
Gentleman to me, Mullins.
Gentleman to me, I like Gentleman to me. I think he's a very, very good horse. He's got plenty of speed, a little bit too keen, but he's getting better. He is only 6.
This is where it's interesting, I think, guys, because wherever Nicky looks to go, like he did a little bit with Shishkin last year, will Willie throw one in against him? Because he's got so many of these horses that he can move over.
This is your other problem, isn't he? Who's going to run what and where? I mean, this is the problem with having so much power in so few stables.
He's not going to have an easy race potentially, though, Shishkin, when he comes back.
No, he's not going to have. No, he's not going to have an easy race. He shouldn't have an easy race anyway.
But my point is, I don't believe in horses.
I don't believe in horses having an easy race anyway. So yeah, I mean, but he'll probably come. He might come back in the Schlur and get an easy race there, won't he? Because they won't come over for a Mickey Mouse Grade 2. So that might be possible. But when you're looking at that, Edwardstone, I mean, the winner of the Arkle, if it runs in the Champion Chase, invariably finishes in the first 3 in the Champion Chase.
16 to 1 at the moment, 365.
He's 16 to 1. Yeah. So what is wrong with him?
Right. Well, let's come to Tom on this, because this is a horse, Tom, that you got absolutely right last year, wasn't it? You called it from, I think, Christmas onwards, and yet Kingy, Alan Kingy's trainer, is talking about moving up, like a lot of these horses can do, to the intermediate, sort of distance of the Ryanair division, as we call it. He's another imponderable, isn't he?
Well, I hope not. I mean, to me, he showed tons of pace, didn't he? I mean, he was never, he had no problem going the pace in the Arkle, and then you look back to Aintree, and he was cantering. That's a really quick 2 miles. Now, at the end of a hard season, he couldn't get past Gentleman to me, but he's probably quite a good horse. I mean, he's a very good horse, and probably wasn't disgraced. But I don't think he was at his best today. Bit of soft ground at Cheltenham, which there invariably is these days. I mean, he's got fun in the Champion Chase. Just has to. You've got to give him a shot in it, at least, haven't you? After winning the Arkle so impressively. I mean, I think 16 to 1 about him each way is very, very fair. Problem is, the win bit you're going to lose, aren't you? Because I can't see him beating an Ergamine. But you know, if that's the way you bet and you like taking the, you know, securing the each way bit, then yes. I mean, I would definitely not put anyone off Edwardstone. I thought he was his jumping really, really good last year, and he was a real strong traveller. And he's just one of those horses that people underestimate because he lost a few hurdle races. Gills alluded to it earlier. You know, horses, these jump horses, they can be, you know, it takes time for them to find their niche. Edwardstone found his niche last year. He was the best novice chaser over 2 miles. I didn't think it was that close. I mean, obviously Fernie Hollow on his Irish form, but I'm not sure that form's that great anyway. He beat the grey mare, didn't he, of Gordon Elliott's, and you know, she was lapped in the Arkle, beaten very easily by Edwardstone. So I thought he was really good. I don't see any reason why he was that much worse than some of the other Arkle winners that have gone to run well in the Champion Chase. Problem is, like we were talking about earlier with the 2 mile hurdlers, he's got Energumene in there, who I think is one of the, you know, is just an exceptional racehorse. So that's the problem, isn't it? If you're backing someone at this stage, if Energumene fell by the wayside, the 16-1 about Edwardstone would be you'd be laughing you'd be loving that over the winter months, wouldn't you? While you're having your chestnuts by the open fire, you'd be looking at your Edwardstone pocket, and you wouldn't be throwing it in, would you?
Tom is starting to warm up now, guys, just like the chestnuts. Keel's 16-1 Edwardstone for the Champion Chase. He's also the same price for the Ryanair with Bet365, and which tells you a tale. We've got so many horses, haven't we, that are caught between stools, if you like, the paths. We've got to come to Allaho with this, because Allaho 11-8 shot for the Ryanair. The dangers to him in the ante-post list, you can make more than a hole or two in every single one of them. But, I mean, every one of them looked down. Last year was put up in here at 7-2 by Dave Orton, an apologetic 7-2, went off 7-4 on, 14-length romp over Janadil, who seems to be the key horse for last year's form, beating all the horses. We know that Fakir Dudare can't beat him, probably won't go even. You've got Brave Man's Game, who could yet go the Gold Cup route. Hopefully they'll meet in the King George. A word on that in a second. We've got Galopin Deschamps. Where's he going to go? Tom's going to have a word on that for sure. Shishkin at 6-1. Chacun Pour Soi at 6-1. That looks like the worst 6-1 I've ever seen. Fernie Hollow again. Bob Ollinger coming back. My Drogo looks like he's got all sorts of problems. This is Allaho's to lose, isn't he? But will he stay at the division?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, look. I mean, even if Willie Mullins came out today and said, right, the only target he's got all year is a third Ryanair, I would never bag a horse at 6-4 in October for a race in March in a million years.
But these people doing the multis,
it doesn't mean
back on them.
People doing the multis. Well, when you do, why do you want to put 6-4 shot in a multi that's going to run 6 months?
Because he'll go off at 3s on
mad.
Potentially.
You're all mad. He just took his far too much.
There were 4 runners in the turns last year. This could be even worse.
There's far too much risk in it. I mean, look, at the end of the day, on RPRs, Shishkin's a horse that's every bit as good as him. I expect him to come here. Then you've got to work out the fact, well, hang on a minute. Let's talk about him going to the King George. Now, he's already finally proved that he gets 3 miles, which is not the biggest surprise in the world. You've got to bear in mind, he ran in Albert Bartlett. He ran in an RSA, as it was then, and then dropped down in trip. Now, he's just got older and stronger. He stays. Now, obviously, we then have Apluchar at the head of the Gold Cup market, same owners, but I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah,
like, you know. So, if you gave me the option, back him or lay him at 6-4 now, I'm laying. It's as simple as that. What's going to beat him if he lines up? Then there's another question, isn't it? I'd like to see Shishkin in there, to be honest. Galopin Deschamps, who knows where that one's going to go? I mean, you know, Millie Mullins was talking about he's fast enough for a Champion Chase. And
he's doing an Aidan O'Brien,
he's very, very good, isn't he?
Yeah. All right. So Brave Man's Game, quick word on him, because it looks like the two of them could meet at Kempton over 3 miles on boxing. It looks like Allaho's going to go if you believe all the vibes.
If you believe all the vibes. I never believe it until they turn up, to be honest. I mean, you know.
You always feel sorry for the King George, don't you? Because it's talked of as being like this. It's a bit like the Arc on the Flat, the super race. Yeah. Yet they never turn up.
Sometimes they don't turn up. Now the thing about Brave Man's Game is he's got to do it in the spring, isn't he?
Oh, and probably up a hill as well, I guess.
I'm not so worried about upper. He's just got to do it in the spring.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's tailed off both times. And, you know, at different tracks. There's no reason why Aintree wouldn't have suited him. and he just hasn't done it. So he looks very, very good, but is he one of those early season horses that just doesn't carry his form through?
Yeah.
Might be one of those. Otherwise, he's one of those. We know how well the Paul Nicholls novice chasers are scored, and his jumping was fantastic. Straight away, he was just, he hit the ground running. He was low and fast and economic, and he's obviously very good. But he's got to carry that form to the end of the season, and he hasn't done it twice now. That's your worry.
So many horses, there's something to prove in this division. It could look silly, the 11 to 8 about Allaho at the moment, but again, this isn't your game, Tom. There are horses in there. I mean, Conflated, who would have finished second last year, showed himself back at Aintree on his final start behind Clanderzoba. I was surprised that he was as big as 25 to 1. If you had to bet on it, you think the Camp de Bromhead might be looking at this for Bob Ollinger as well. 20s at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you could make cases. I mean, I think he's got no chance of running in that. I think he's proved himself to be a 3 mile plus horse now, so I think he'd go there. Bob Ollinger, as we've talked about earlier, I think he's got issues. I think it's really hard, as Gil says. I mean, I'm in his camp. I don't want to back any horse at 6 to 4 now when we haven't seen them for 6 months, and they've got a whole season to get through. Everything can go wrong. Anything can go wrong with these jump horses, but I think he'll end up there. I mean, I don't think there's any chance he'll run in any other race myself, Allaho. Because I think they've got Aputar. Unless something drastically goes wrong with Aputar, but even then, I still think he'll run in the Ryanair, because I think they'll run Galopin des Champs, will be their Gold Cup horse. So I think it's long odds on that if he's right, he goes to the Ryanair to win it 3 times. They're creatures of habit. Let's not forget they ran the mare Vega 4 or 5 times in the same race when they could have run in the Champion Hurdle many times. I don't think there's any chance he'll go anywhere but the Ryanair. But I don't want to back a horse at 6 to 4 now. I just don't. I don't want to back a horse at 6 to 4 hardly ever, let alone one 6 months before the race. So he's not for me. But look, he's the standout horse. As for, we're talking about him for the King George. I personally think he's miles better left-handed. I know he won at Punchestown last year, and I know he won the John Deere. But I think he still jumped out to his right a bit, out to his left a bit. I think Cheltenham suits him perfectly. I would take him on for all my life at Kent. I just don't think that would be his track, but especially because it'll be a very short price. But so for me, I'm a big Allaho fan. I hope he runs in the King George, because it'll make it an excellent betting race.
Yes, absolutely. So the Christmas showpiece looks like it could be, I mean, him and Brave Man's Gamey up against each other would be something to savour, wouldn't it? He's current fab for that, of course, on about 5 to 2. It's interesting because when you look at these divisions of the horses, we had to do, didn't we, Keels? Like left-handed form, right-handed form. Parky was like, "Can you please do that?" Which was painstaking, wasn't it, going through horse's career? But funnily enough, despite the fact that he's more prolific on a left-handed track, Allaho's best RPR so far was when he smashed Clanderzoba. I don't know if it's the colour of the horse that he's taken on there, but 181 he's got there. So let's move on then to the Gold Cup division, because isn't it remarkable that Aplutard is not currently favourite with Bet365 for this race, having put up a performance for the age. It's an unbelievable performance in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. And Keith Melrose, in his analysis of the division, says you couldn't by no means call this an open division because Aplutard was so good in the Gold Cup. Yet Galopin des Champs currently sits ahead of him, just half a point, 7 to 2 with the sponsors.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you always worry you about horses that keep going to Cheltenham is at some point they're going to peak and start going down, and sometimes it happens a little bit earlier with your French-bred horses. Now, Aplutard, how many Cheltenhams has he been to already? 4 already. Well, so that'd be his 5th one. Mind you, it'd be Galopin des Champs' 3rd, wouldn't it? But he's still only a 6-year-old. If Aplutard goes there and runs the same run again, then you're talking about Galopin des Champs needing to be as good as your Denmans and the like, because that was a massive run last year. He's still the one to beat. He should be favourite, really. You always have bookmakers building in potential in their prices anyway, don't you? For fair reason. But Galopin des Champs has looked brilliant. He's only got a small body of horses that he beat. There is always the case that stepping up out of novice company into open company for the first time in your life, because all these horses, they go straight from novice hurdles, novice chasers, and they've never run in an open Grade 1, and it's amazing how many of them fail that we all expect to. Envoy Allen, Sam Crow, etc. Like, it's amazing how many of them
some
found.
names.
Because horses, it's a rare horse that stays at the top for that long.
Best of the
Simple as
British?
that.
Ahoy, senor. Long
Best,
press?
well, I mean, Keith Melmo's raised the exact same point. We were talking about it earlier. Long press is a top price. Full teams was bets 365. How much shorter can he get if he's going to avoid everything and not take in a proper race before he gets there?
Yeah, good point.
He'll only get shorter if loads of other horses fall out of it. Ahoy Senor, for me, he's going to have to do it on an undulating track. He's a monster on a flat track, isn't he? I think he's definitely got the potential to shorten if he runs in the Coral Trophy at Newbury, because he's tailor-made for that race. He's on a similar mark to Denman when Denman won it for the first time. And he doesn't have to win it by the 10 lengths that Denman won it by, off that sort of mark. I think that's well within his capabilities. I think he's very, very good. Statler looked good in a rubbish National Hunt Chase, and I've put up one at a bigger price. And now, and this is the case of me saying horses improve at different rates. One horse that was going under the radar all last year was Farouk Delen, and one of his problems was he's a little bit clumsy, but he was getting better and better and better, and he was running by some margin the best race of his life. I think he'd have been second to Long Press. Might have actually given him a race because Davy Russell hadn't gone for him.
33 shot at the moment.
And he fell 2 out. Now, a few years ago when Album Photo was legless on the floor, winded, after a very heavy fall behind Presenting Percy, nobody would have thought this is the winner of the next 2 Gold Cups. But he was the one that came out and proved past everything. Now, Farouk Delen was still going well. He would have gone a hell of a lot closer to winning that Brown Advisory as it is now than Album Photo would have done. And so I think he's a horse to watch out for, and I thought if there was a bit of value in the Gold Cup market, I'm going to take a chance on him.
It's a strong market, isn't it, Tom? As you look down, Manila Indo bounced back second last year, 40-1. A horse that interests me, Tom, you've heard us talking, is Statler, the National Hunt Chase winner, of course. He looks like a right horse to me. Wouldn't be surprised if he even drops down in distance. Again, this is Mullins. There's a big chessboard out there in the moment. Willie's just decided where to put the pieces. But Galopin de Champs heads the market, 7-2, as you've heard.
Yeah, I mean, Galopin de Champs will know, I think at some stage in the season, because he's, we'll know which sort of trip suits him. He looks so fast to me. I mean, if he stays the Gold Cup trip, then he's going to be something special. I think he could put up Denman and Porto style figures. He looked awesome last year. That's a big question mark. A Plus Tard is clearly the form horse. I think there's a couple in there. I get Farouk Delen, but I'm not so convinced that Long Press can't shorten up. I think that the Brown Advisory was a pretty strong race last year. I thought he won it incredibly easily. You watch it again, and Charlie Deutsch gives him one little flick halfway up the run in, and he sprints away again. I think he's a top class horse. I really do. I think if it got soft ground on Gold Cup day, he's a player. He's definitely a player, because I think the extra 2 furlongs will be right up his street. I think he'll relish it. That was sort of the question mark before the Brown Advisory last year was 3 miles his trip, but I think he'll love it. I think he'll absolutely relish a real big stamina test on soft ground. So not entirely convinced. I mean, I think if he turns up on the day having won a couple of Mickey Mouse races, he'll be 8-1, not 16. So I think that I'm not sure that's a bad price. The other one I get Keels is Farouk, and I thought Conflated at 40-1 or 33-1 was a pretty big price. He would have been second in the Ryanair last year. We've seen horses come out of the Ryanair, Imperial Commander being one, and step up in trip. I think he then went to Aintree, and he stayed on really strongly. He beat did he beat A Plus Tard? He won the Irish Gold Cup, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he? Yeah.
Yes, he did. I thought he won that with speed, Tom. I've got to be honest. So he's an interesting horse.
He's a strong stayer. He is. They won't be going down in trip with him again. They were worried about the trip for him at thing. I know a chap who is quite close with Davey, and he's always said that he wants 3 miles. And I think he'll be a player over 3 miles. I think that's the way they'll go with him. So I thought a big price. He was interesting, but I think A Plus Tard's the obvious one. We'll know where Galopin des Champs is going to run after a couple of runs. I mean, he'll probably run in the Irish Gold Cup. If he wins that, then he'll go to Cheltenham Gold Cup. But I quite like Long Press. I've always been a big fan of his. I think if it's soft ground, I think he's a big player. I always liked last year's Brown Advisory. It used to be the Son of Lance. I keep getting my Son of Lances and my Brown Advisories mixed up. But you know what I mean. They've always had a good record in the Gold Cup. Even nutty ones like Jim Cullerty's horse went on to win the Gold Cup, didn't he? After
Lord,
winning,
the Lord.
yeah,
Lord
plenty
Windermere, yeah.
of others. And I just think he's got all the credentials to run a big race because he's a strong stayer and he jumps really well.
Team Williams will be delighted to hear that. Well, if that hasn't whetted your appetite for the season ahead, what will do? Right, really happy to ramp things up here on this year's big jump-off video. And we can go down and visit the stables of Olly Murphy joins us on the line. Olly, welcome along.
Hi Dave, how are we doing?
I'm very good, man. I'm very good. Great to have you on. You're one of the best talkers in the game now, Murph. And again, you know, we know that you're a Grade 1 winning trainer. But what we look for with you, Olly, is these young horses coming through. You always have bumper winners left, right and centre. But something tells me you might have some very well handicapped horses, having looked down your list of runners from last season.
Yeah, hopefully. Listen, plenty of horses won bumpers, which probably so-called underachieved over hurdles. So hoping now they've kind of got handicap marks and they're kind of second season novices or horses that have a season under their belt jumping hurdles. They've a few horses with nice marks going forward. So fingers crossed.
Oh, there's the smile coming out of that. Absolutely. I mean, are you excited? It's not just the Villa you're excited about, or should I not mention that going forward this winter?
I was going to say, Christ, I'm excited about my football team at the moment. Things going wrong. We're absolutely dreadful. But yeah, it's an exciting time of year, Dave, as you know. Plenty of dreams still intact. Lucky man, I've got plenty of nice horses to get going with, and hopefully there's a star amongst them. Obviously, look, my second Grade 1 winner. So really looking forward to kind of unleashing a few of these horses, and hopefully, as I said, there's a good one amongst them.
Now, of course, you know, a former graduate of Gordon Elliott's is about trying to crack the egg here, guys, basically, and find out those darker horses with Olly. But let's perhaps zone in first of some of your more established stars. Brewing Up a Storm came good at Lingfield. That was a decent meeting at Lingfield, wasn't it, through the winter on that? You know, horses that want the proper winter ground. You never going to have a problem there, and the prize money was great. Is that going to be working back from there for him, or...?
Yeah, I suppose I'll probably plot the same kind of path that I did last season with him. We'll start off an entry in a couple of weeks' time for the race he won, and I imagine he'll get a Cheltenham, Lingfield, Pontwell, and probably back to entry again. But yeah, he'll be racing for good prize money again. Dave, he's a very, very good horse on his day. He can blow a little bit hot and cold, but when he's good, I don't think there's anything better than him at 2.5 miles on his day. But yeah, it's just trying to catch him on that day is the tricky part sometimes.
The national spirit mentioned on this show. We're getting excited now, absolutely. All right, so if you haven't checked out Olly's website, by the way, Olly Murphy Racing is one of the better websites out there. And I noticed on your weekly blog, the latest line is, we've got an army ready to run. Like everyone out there at the moment, the more it rains, the happier Olly Murphy becomes at the moment, right?
Correct. Entered nice horses for... entry on Sunday this morning, obviously first morning of entering nicer horses. So really looking forward to getting going. Going to be very busy from next week onwards, and yeah, the rain looks like it's on its way.
One horse you must have been delighted with. He's really getting on now. But you got the best out of Hunter's Call again last season, didn't you?
Yeah, obviously 12 years old. He's 13 after the turn of the year. He's been a star for me, and kind of what could have been with him more so than anything. Obviously, he's been a tricky horse to train, but he's still in good form. His work's still very good for a 12-year-old. So hopefully he can run in kind of all those veterans hurdle races, and he can hope to pick up some good prize money again.
So not just getting the best out of these older horses coming back, but plotting for races is something I'm assuming associated with your stable now, mate. And come on, when are we going to get another win out of Itchy Feet?
Good question. He's obviously in different colours this year. He's owned by Nick Brown Racing, and there's a few other partners involved as well. So, yeah, he's obviously a horse with a big engine, Dave. He's a horse that I'm sure plenty of people call names, but there's a big engine under the bonnet. He's had a wind up, which hopefully will help him. We'll change a few things around. And, yeah, he's got a big engine. I'm not sure where he'll start off, but kind of a big slow track somewhere, soft ground, and again, I think that race at Lingfield's made for him. He was a fast finishing fourth in it last year when kind of getting himself detached. And all he has to do is just turn up one day and he's going to win some very good prize money. So hopefully he'll do that at some point this year.
He's giving me itchy teeth back in him, Murph, all right? So I need to get one out of him, I think. But let's look for Lingfield for that. But again, he's like that pupil, isn't he? He's just so talented, but just turns up. You never know when he's going to do it. Let's have a look at some horses that really turn themselves inside out from their initial mark to where they got to. And Thunder Rock is, loads of our viewers out there will be wondering how he's summered, Murph.
Yeah, no, he's done well, Dave. We were toying with the idea of running him in a hurdle race, but obviously the ground stayed quick for a while, so he's going to go jumping fences. He'll have an entry in that Kalahari King novice handicap chase at Utoxeter next week, along with an entry at Chepstow, I think, on the Thursday or Friday, a novice handicap chase as well. So his schooling been good. He's in really good form. Obviously looked very progressive last season. Has run the point to point. So, his jumping will be no problem.
All right, OK. What about Gunsight Ridge? You seem to go off favourite every time you run. I guess it's that long press form when a few people like me on our live show that we do every week at the Racing Post are calling him a couple of names. Turns out he's probably one of the best handicapped horses in training. It didn't happen for him at Aintree, did it? When the whole world seemed to fancy him.
Yeah, no one more so than myself. But listen, he had two very hard races in Sandown last year, and I feel I left my season there when he got beat on his penultimate start. A horse that again has had his wind tweaked. I still believe he's handicapped to win a really nice race somewhere. Wouldn't be against going up in trip at some point and riding with a little bit more restraint. But yeah, he's in good form. He'll be ready to rock and roll in a fortnight, 3 weeks' time. And one place I won't be going back to is Sandown. He's got a couple of real hard races there last year. But yeah, a horse I'm still really looking forward to.
Yeah, it looks like he's still just lurking on that very good marks, isn't he? I'm looking down the list here on the Racing Post at your horses from last year, and there are so many horses. People will be screaming at the telly, Dave Orton's not asking about that. Dave Orton's not asking about this one. Let's concentrate on a horse called Washington. Is the plan to go soaring over the bigger ones?
Not for the time being, Dave. He's actually got an entry for Aintree on Sunday. The plan is to step him up in trip half a mile. He was a horse I struggled to switch off in his early days over hurdles. He was very keen. So half of last season was very much a work in progress. He switched off well then in Aintree on his last start when coming from a long way back to run well in the boys' race there. So looking forward to stepping him up in trip. He's in good form. May well run on Sunday if conditions are right, and I'm happy with him. But I think there's plenty of improvement to come when you see him step up to 2.5 and 2 miles.
What about the very likely race Go Dante? You only won his bump had. All the dogs barking about this one. He looks like he could potentially be very well handicapped.
Yeah, still lurking on a mark in the late 120s, Dave. I had a torrid time with him last season. Won his maiden hurdle well before getting beat a few times then in Ascot, and then obviously I ran him in the Cello. He subsequently came back with a fracture to his pelvis, so wasn't seen again since. So he's had plenty of time to get over that. He came in a little bit later than the rest of them. He's in really, really good form. Looking forward to starting him off in a month or 6 weeks' time. I was one of many now that sung this lad's praises. So I still stand by him. I still hope he's extremely well handicapped off his mark. He'll stay over hurdles, and hopefully he's a horse who's going to progress into a really smart hurdler before jumping fences next season.
Yeah, again, I think I definitely, loads of miles on the clock, so wish you well with him. Right, viewers, this is where it starts to get tricky. Wish me luck here on going in. Let's talk about some of the really exciting, sort of up-and-coming horses. Chasing Fire got an entry this weekend.
Yeah, he's in good form. We fancied him out the way now when he won his bumper in Wetherby, and nice that he went and delivered. And he showed me plenty at home. Obviously, a son of Maxios. He's entered for Cheltenham at the weekend. They're going to need a monsoon for him to be able to run. But yeah, he's ready to start off, Dave. A horse we think the world of, and hopefully he's a horse who'll be able to go up through the ranks.
Would he be at the top of the coming through pecking order then, I'm assuming?
Yeah, he'd be up there. He'd be up there for sure. But yeah, nice horse, worked very good, Dave. He's got a great way of going about the place. He's a laid-back horse now, but when you want him, he just comes alive. So I think he's got plenty of toe. Definitely start him off at 2 miles, and that could well be his trip.
What's the horse that your mate Charlie Post told me to ask about? Was it a Warwick Bumper winner? Is it Chasing Leader or something like that? I can't remember what his name.
No, it was a horse called Strong Leader.
Okay, because this is the half brother, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So, his brother won a few races for me called Strong Glance, who was a fair horse himself. So, this lad's a nice horse. Won his bumper very well under Adrian Heskin at Warwick. I think he clocked some extraordinary times up the straight. Speaking to those lads that know what they're talking about with times, took them an awful long time to pull them up as well. So yeah, horse to look forward to. We'll start at 2 miles. I'd imagine over hurdles. He's entered in the bumper at Cheltenham this weekend, but I'd imagine the ground is going to be too quick to run him as well. So yeah, horse I'm looking forward to. And yeah, he's another horse that's he's exciting.
Ollie, this is a big jump off, of course. This is our, unmissable pull-out feature. It's one of our best videos that we do for our viewers because everyone's just mad for the jump season going forward. You're one of the first names that we wanted to come to, Ollie, because you do have that range now, don't you? You're established, you're a Grade 1 winning trainer. You've got the older horses that you're trying to get back. Some of them you can nicely plod away with. You've got Bruin Up and Storm, at that top level. But we do have these younger horses coming through as well. Who haven't I mentioned?
A few names you haven't mentioned that might be new to the yard. A horse called Active Authority won his point-to-point very well. A horse by Authorised, whether he'll start with a bumper or maiden hurdle, I'm not sure, but he's shown me loads at home. A lovely horse called Fortunate Soldier, owned by the Hales family. Again, won his point-to-point on his last start. Was purchased through High Flyer at the Punchtown sale. Jumps great and seems very likeable. What else we got? I suppose a horse I love is a horse called Butch. He was actually second in a bumper first out at Huntington. Shows me loads. Jumps magnificent. He's owned by the McNeil family. He's one I'm really looking forward to. And I suppose plenty of horses then for handicap hurdlers, handicap chasers, some nice bumper horses. So plenty of champions looking out over stable doors at the moment, Dave. And hopefully, we'll be able to keep that trend going.
Yeah, the twinkle is in the eye. The dreams are alive. Ollie, it's always a bit of fun talking to you, but you've given us some absolute pearls there. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, lads. We'll look forward to seeing you soon. Cheers.
Brilliant. Ollie Murphy. Get the feeling that Grade 1 winner. Number 2 is just around the corner. OK, so it's not just a big jump off that lands with you this week, guys. It's also Safer Gambling Week. And we want all of our customers here at the Racing Post to know that gambling should only be regarded as a recreational pastime, not a means of making money. Of course, we believe it's important to understand the risks associated with gambling, guys, and we take seriously our commitment to encourage you to stay well within your limits. Also, and this is the hard part, seek help if you're spending too much time or too much money on gambling. Whilst we do, of course, believe that Safer Gambling Week is a great industry initiative, here at the Racing Post, we think it should be a 365-day-a-year commitment. If you ever think you've got an issue, guys, with gambling, do seek help. There's the link below. Get involved.
Hi there, I'm Keith Melrose, Racing Post betting editor, and my horse to follow for the coming jump season is Val Shida. Now, you might not know who he is, but he's trained by Nicky Henderson. His dam won the Aintree bumper, and he looked a really promising novice chaser last year. On his second to last run, he was second to Killer Kane at Kempton, and that horse came out and won a listed handicap on his next start. And then on his most recent run, he won at Foss Last, coming clear with another unexposed sort, and he did really well to win that race, considering he absolutely belted 4 out in a race that they crawled. He comes into this season rated 129. I think this is potentially a 150 horse, so Val Shida is my horse to follow for the season.
I've got 2 horses that I'm looking forward to seeing this season. The first is Constitution Hill. I thought he was very, very impressive in the Supreme Novices last year. And when he beat Chambon, and what Aidan's told me about him, I was just very, very impressed. I think he'll come out early next month. He'll win the Fighting Fifth. And then he will go on to win the Champion Hurdle. And also looking forward to seeing Facel Vega. Very impressive in both of his bumpers. And can't wait to see him jump a hurdle.
My horse to follow for the new jump season is a horse called Klitschko in the green and gold of JP McManus. And I encourage you to go back and watch his bumper win one evening in May, early summer at Huntington. Unbelievable. He's so green early in the race. He's so free. You think he's got no chance. I remember that day writing him off. I thought he had no chance come the back end of the race. And yet, at the end of the race, he's still very, very green. He hasn't got a clue what's going on. Yet he wins decisively. He must have a serious engine. In the right hands with Alan King, I think he's a horse with huge potential and really exciting for Alan King and JP McManus this season. I think Klitschko could become one of the heavyweights of the game.
My name is James Stevens and my horse to follow this season is Classic Anthem, trained by Joe Tizard. He was winner of an Irish point-to-point on his only start. He actually didn't meet a rival that day, they all fell. but it was still an impressive performance nonetheless. He looked like he was going to win before the last one came down. Joe Tizard really thinks he's going to be a smart horse this season. Nicky Henson was also the underbidder when he was sold, so all the signs are good that this is going to be a good horse, and who knows, maybe he could be running here behind me one day.
My horse to follow for this jump season is Indigo Breeze. He's a 6-year-old grey with Gordon Elliott, half-brother to Brindisi Breeze. You might remember winning a Grade 1 hurdle at the festival a few years ago. Indigo Breeze ran on into 8th in the Coral Cup. He was sort of held up out the back and never got into it, but I think he showed a fair engine that day. He's chasing now, not from 3 in beginners chases. I think you're going to see him in handicap chases, and I think there's enough talent there to win 1 or maybe 2 decent races this season.
My horse to follow this jump season is Salt Rock. We sold him from our yard and he won his first point-to-point very impressively at Charlton Hawthorn. He was bought at the festival sale by Kim Bailey, and I think he has all the attributes to make up into a leading performer, much as he is a horse probably as a chaser of the future.
Hi all, Tom Park here. Hope you're all enjoying the big jump off. My horse to follow for the season is a horse called Galore. You might remember him from a couple of years ago. He was a very exciting novice for the Jamie Snowden team. He's been off the track for 18 months, but he comes into this season off a mark of just 142. That's £8 lower than what he was rated as a novice. I think he's got a right chance in the Paddy Power Gold Cup off that mark, and he's a very exciting horse for the upcoming season.
Right then, final section of the show. Thanks for staying with us so far. Reminder to like and subscribe on YouTube. That's where you can get involved, get your comments down there. This is, honestly, it nearly broke the bank, last year's video, so many views it got. Keels, going to come to you first. 2 to follow, please.
2 to follow, right, OK. 1 from Britain, 1 from Ireland. Quai de Paris, novice hurdles. Don't be surprised if he ends up ranking very highly for Woody Mullins.
OK. Is this a new recruit?
It's a new recruit, yeah. He's only run once in Ireland. The Riches has got quite a few.
One of 100, probably.
They don't have quite that many. But there's plenty of talk about him being very useful, as there is about their Triumph Hurdle favourite, Lossiemouth. But Quai de Paris is very interesting. And over here, I am going to say Montmoral for novice chasing for Paul Nicholls.
So nearly made my 2.
Deliberately given a quiet campaign last year over hurdles because of that, perceived difficult second season as a 5-year-old. Obviously, it would have been different if he'd have shown a bit more in the elite hurdle at Wincanton earlier in the season.
Yeah.
But he didn't. So ease off, come back. Okay, a distant place behind that baton at Aintree, but a very quiet campaign. Absolutely tailor-made for chasing. You watch him come out and jump like a stag first time, and whatever happens when it comes to taking on the Irish, he's going to take very high rank over here.
He could yet go up to the Turners as well, couldn't he? If there's only 4 runs again, Paul will be enjoying that. 2 to follow from Tom Segal, please.
I'm going to cheat and have 3 because there's 2 juveniles that I've been really... I mean, people don't like horses off the flat running over hurdles these days, but actually they've got a lot better record in races like the Triumph than people give you credit for. You mean, last year Pied Piper was the horse of Milton Harris's that won the Aintree, was awarded their Aintree race. You got Pentland Hills, you got loads of them have come off the flat and run really well in races like that. I've been really impressed with 2. One at Sedgefield, believe it or not, but it's trained by an Irishman, Emmett Mullins. Mac Teague, he was rated 98. I thought he jumped really well at Sedgefield. I think he's got the potential to take high rank in juvenile hurdles. The other one is a horse called Cougar, who was trained by Aidan O'Brien on the flat, reached a mark of 92. But that was after winning a maiden. He was second in the Ulster Harp Derby, which is always quite a good race for 3-year-olds, 3-year-old handicaps at the start season. I think if he'd have kept on the flat, he might have been rated in the near hundreds. He's gone hurdling. He won his first start. What I loved about him was they sprinted down the home straight and he didn't miss a beat with his hurdling. He flew the last 2. When you've got a horse that could have been rated 100 that can jump like he can, I think they can take very high rank over hurdles. So those 2 would be on my one. And we mentioned it before, but I'm not going to be sorry for saying him again, but I love Long Press. I really do. I think he's just got everything I like in a racehorse. Travels, jumps, just a beautiful specimen. I just think he's got everything going for him. I think he's still got his future in front of him. So that would be my 3.
All right, great stuff. OK, I've got 2 to follow for you. 3 Stripe Life from Ireland, the monstrous 3 Stripe Life, proper Grade 1 horse. and he's just wanted to go up in trip. The only reason why I'm not going to tip him ante-post because I don't know what distance he's going to run over. And while the Donnellys will be hoping that Shishkin bounces back, they've got a right machine going at 7 barrows at the moment called Jet Powered, who they picked up from an Irish point as well for Nicky Henderson. So there's 2 for you. All right, an ante-post tip each. Let's get this out of the way. Go on, Kills.
Well, I'm going to have a sneaky 2 then.
Yeah, Tom's going for it. Let's just add them up. The graphics points are going.
I'll have 2 of these. Right. If I was going to bet at the front end of the market in any race, it would actually be the National Hunt Chase and Gaillard du Maine, who is already good enough to win it. It'd be a second season chaser going there, having been third under massive weight in an Irish National and third to Long Press and in the what's it, and he's 5 or 6 to 1 now. They go there and have a small field, and he'll be 5 to 4, won't he? Like, you know what I mean? He's young still as well, so he's more than good enough to win the race already, and it'll take something very good to actually knock him out of the head of the market. So him for me there, and I believe it when I see it when it comes to these horses from Ireland coming over. Obviously, William Mullins has sent some worse horses over than Allaho, but if there's a race to bet if you're going to have a bet in the King George now, you've got to do it on an outsider, and I would take a chance on Hitman of Paul Nicholls. I'm absolutely convinced he wants to go out to 3 mile, and he's one of those horses you think, oh, he's been around for ages, he's found his level, he didn't win a race last year or whatever. When he was second to Fakir Duderis, he's still actually a week short of his 6th birthday. He's been 2 seasons over fences. He's reached a reasonable level. Now, when you look at the Nicholls horses, because they start so young, you forget that they can carry on improving. Clandezobo won his King George. He was a 3rd season chaser. Quarto Star ran in 6 Gold Cups. He was a 3rd season chaser when he won his first one. And obviously Frodon was something like a 5th season chaser when he won a King George. So they keep on improving. I think Hitman's Gunu. He travelled really well in that race behind Fakir. He got outspeeded and stayed on again. And I think if he goes up to 3 mile, he'll be the fly in the ointment against Allaho, Brave Man's Game and Co. in the King George.
There you go.
We like flies in ointments, don't we, Dave?
We do.
Absolutely. And have you got any for us then, Tom?
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as Cheltenham goes, I thought one of the better bets was Nicky Henderson's mare, A Horse with No Name, in the Mare's Novices Hurdle. She was 2nd last year at 50 to 1, but she can run again. She actually hasn't won a race over hurdles. I thought she improved a lot on the flat this season. I'm not sure she was at her very best in the Cesarewitch last week, but I think she's, it's going to be one of the weakest races again, and I think she'll run well because she's going to go there. And 14 or 12 to 1 was very fair. As far as the Grand National goes, I love a bet in the Grand National at this time of the year. I don't know why, because I find it impossible on the day and I find it impossible all the time, but I like having a crack now. And I thought Lucinda Russell's horse that won the Ultimate, Korak Rambler, had the perfect profile for the National. Her and Pete Skoo are brilliant trainers of staying chasers. Grand Nationals, Scottish Nationals, should have won a Welsh National. Silver by Nature, how that lost. They made a film out of the horse that beat it. Unbelievable. And she's just a brilliant trainer. And I just think Korak Rambler has everything going for him. Jumps, stays. Look, like if it had been 3 miles 2 furlongs, the Ultimate last year, I think he'd have won by 20 lengths. And he'd have gone up another 10 pounds. I just think he's a really good horse going forward. So him at 33 to 1 for the Grand National, I thought was perfectly reasonable.
Absolutely. Producers are loving this because finally a mention for the National and the Triumph Hurdle, which is a division from Tom that people absolutely adore as well. I sit at this moment now where a lot of the horses that I want to be looking forward to running at Cheltenham, I've got no idea what races they're going to run in, mainly because they're trained by Mullins. State of Man would be one of them. I thought one of Mullins' inmates in the Gold Cup stat there at 20 to 1 was solid, because I think he's better than Galvin, who won it at a race for the St Connections previously, came that route, and if he doesn't go off a lot shorter than that, he's going to go down that route pretty much, and he'll do for me. All right, that's it. That's what we've got time for here on this year's big jump off. Thank you for joining me, Paul Kealy. We're lucky to have you, man.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
And we're very lucky to have Reading beaming into us as well. Tom, off your deathbed. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you very much. Sorry I couldn't make it. I mean, I wouldn't give you all COVID again. Sorry.
We're all absolutely thrilled, Tom. Don't worry about that. This has been a great pleasure for me, Dave Orton, to sit with the great men here this morning. Let's hope you're enjoying this big jump off. Don't forget, 72 pages. This is the pull-out. It's what it's all about. It's even better this year, guys. You cannot miss it. From us all here at the Racing Post, here come the jumpers.